Hi guys, I'm Phil Town from Rule 1 Investing. I want to talk to you a little bit about the upcoming presidential election. First off, let me kind of set up the situation in the stock market. The stock market typically ranges between a value of about 60% of GDP and 100% of GDP. When it's 100%, it's very pricey, unlikely to go up. When it's 60%, it's pretty likely to go up and it's pretty cheap. Today, the stock market is priced at 130% of GDP. It's only been there a couple of times in the last, since World War II, and both times it crashed in a gigantic way. So we're already set up where it's very difficult to see the stock market moving up strongly from here, no matter who gets elected. So think about this. We have two different candidates, one who basically wants to drain the swamp, and one who is opposed to that process and who thinks that larger government and more globalization is better for the country. So you've got two really stark choices here. You got a street fighter, very rough character, really crass, just totally different than the typical glib politician who wants to burn down the house in many, many ways. And then you've got somebody who's really well known, typical politician, and who's going to go from the extreme that they talk about to get elected back to the middle. So if Hillary Clinton gets elected, I think what we're going to see is kind of more of the same from what we saw with Bush and Obama. Big government getting bigger, globalization getting more global, more free trade going across borders, tougher and tougher for the middle class to do well, and more government programs to help the middle class retrain and go different directions. You're going to see taxes go up much higher with Hillary Clinton in the White House if she gets a Congress and Senate that'll pass them. You're going to see people over $250,000 are going to pay a lot more taxes. And what that means is that the people who run small businesses, which are 70% of the employees in America, are working for a small business. And the people who run those businesses are not taxed as corporations. They are taxed as individuals and often land in this $250,000 range. And if they're going to get taxed more on the income that are coming in from their companies, it means that small corporations are going to not be hiring as many people. U.S. corporations are the highest tax corporations in the world. We're competing against taxes that go as low as 0 in some countries, but are averaging around 15 to 18%. So if we don't get taxes down from where they are right now, which is 39% for corporations, then we continue to be at a disadvantage worldwide. So globalization, higher taxes, much bigger welfare program, much more government involvement, is more of the same that we've had for many, many, many years now. So if Hillary gets elected, I think that what we're going to see is the stock market will continue to kind of creep along and crawl toward new highs, more and more difficult all the time, probably for a couple of years, until the impact of all of this simply gets too weighty on the middle class. And you'll see a big, big fight against it. And I think we're going to have a big meltdown in the stock market probably at that point. Trump, on the other hand, rough character. You notice that Hillary's arguments against Trump has virtually nothing to do with policy at all. And one of the reasons for that is because he's actually left of Hillary on things like national defense, where he would really like to see us out of most of these global wars. I'm sure he'd love to see Putin take over the Middle Eastern countries and just deal with it. Maybe a buffer around China would be okay with him. We're not going to send our troops to save Korea and Taiwan. Europe can have a buffer between Russia and Europe, and so he won't push for NATO to take in Eastern European countries. And that's very destabilizing, that kind of activity. That's something that goes against really the whole U.S. defense policy since World War II. Very radical, very much more libertarian, and very, very much more like Bernie Sanders in that regard. Same thing with workers' pay scales. Sanders was pushing hard for the middle class, and then Trump is pushing just as hard to stop NAFTA, stop TPP, to try to get a better balance between this concept of globalization, where corporations can simply hire anybody from around the world that can do the job at whatever price. If they could get guys in IT to do it for $3 a day out of Kenya, that would be legitimate in the eyes of this globalization concept. And unfortunately, what that does is just cut the wheels out from under our entire middle class. When we're seeing people go from $85,000 jobs into unemployment because someone from another country took their job and was over here getting paid $50,000 a year, then you got to wonder if that's the right way to go. And Clinton is completely in favor of that. NAFTA is from Bill Clinton. TPP is something she's vastly in favor of, which she's, during the election saying she's not. But that will continue to go on under her administration. With Trump, he starts putting up tariffs like he's talking about. He starts putting up walls to trade, and you got the potential for the kind of 1929 scenario where one tariff begets another tariff and you end up with a world global economic war. And then you go into currency wars, and then we might have a disaster. So with Trump and these other economic programs, it's a roll of the dice. Very possible he's got the right idea for the middle class. Very possible it works out for the benefit of the country. Very possible 2-3 years into that administration, if he has a Congress with us, he makes the whole thing work and we got 20 years of boom. But what's going to happen when he gets elected is this market's going to crater because uncertainty will go right off the chart. So that's my view. Love to hear from you. Answer this question. How do you foresee this presidential election impacting the stock market? Love to see the wisdom of crowds. Leave your answer below and we'll follow up with you. If you enjoyed the video, by the way, and you think it was valuable in teaching you more about, how to handle your financial future, subscribe to my channel and share the video, please. Share it out with your friends and anybody who might benefit from this information. And by the way, we've got a lot more resources for taking control of your financial life and learning how to invest. So visit my website, Rule 1 Investing. We got all kinds of good free stuff up there. Take advantage of it, and thanks for watching. Now, go play. Hey you guys, if you liked the video and you thought it was really valuable for teaching you more about getting control of your financial future, then just share the video with your friends or anyone else who might benefit from the information. And if you'd like more resources for taking control of your finances and learning how to invest, then visit my website, rule1investing.com. So thanks for watching. Now go play.